Mitchell James is here, everybody.
Well,
Hey.
We're a Maroon.
We're talking a bit of sport.
Yeah.
I see you got.
Is
your
it official?
Maroon shirt
Is it
on
official,
today,
Mitchell?
Mitch.
It's official.
No, Dave, is it as we were reporting on the show proper?
Read it
As
out.
it was.
1 to
Wow.
17.
1 to 17. Reece Walsh in at fullback. Selwyn Cobbo and Valentine Holmes on the wing. Dan Gagai, Hamiso, Tabua Fido in the centres. Tommy Didden, Daly Cherry Evans, of course, the captain. Ruben Cotter, Lindsay Collins, our front rowers. Benny Hunt, starting hooker. Kurt Capewell, promoted. Wasn't there game one. Was there off the bench in game two. Will start in the second row. Jeremiah Nanai as well, and Paddy Carrigan in at lock. Harry Grant has been named, though Reid Marnie from the Bulldogs has been called in as cover, so he's in the extended bench. Mo Fotuaika, Felice Kafusi, and Kalen Ponga in the interchange bench. And 18th man officially, Trent Liero. I always screw up his name.
Yep.
He's the
a
official
Sunshine-
18th man.
Sunshine Coast boy, that kid.
And Brennan Piakura from the Bronx, who was there sort of, watching things from a distance in game one.
From a distance.
Is there as well, number 19.
Wait.
Extended squad.
So the official 18th man is Trent Liero.
Yes, yep.
And Reid Marnie is just cover for Harry Grant.
For Harry, yeah, who hasn't the two Storm games that have been since game 2 of Origin. Harry hasn't played. He's sat out. Yeah,
That 18th man job is important because you get paid if you're the 18th man. If you're 19 or 20, you don't get paid.
30K, baby.
But the 18th, and it's full payment, 30K,
Even if you don't play.
even if you don't play, 30 large.
How do you, as Queenslanders, feel about that squad?
Well, I think it can win. There's absolutely no reason why we can't win. I'm surprised. I've got to say that that we didn't find room for Feta.
Physicality up the guts worries me. That's I think where they bullied us in game 2. There was a bully session.
I'm surprised you haven't gone with Papali, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
As a bench spot instead of Mo Fotuaika.
yeah. Well,
Adds a bit of grunt.
we haven't. Have we
he played
called?
well over the weekend. Too,
Yeah.
Partly, but I
Played
can
really well.
I can only assume that Billy Slater has just drawn a red line through Papali's rep career, and
Well, he called it, right? Did he? Ahead of last year, he
did.
said,
Yes.
"I'm announcing my rep retirement." We've never.
No. He wasn't selected, and then he kind of
Then he
did that.
came out,
You know
did
the
he?
thing that everyone said Teddy should do? Like, you haven't been selected, someone younger than you's been brought
Right,
in.
yeah.
And then he kind of was like, okay, well, I'm retiring from rep
Yeah,
footy.
by
But
the
it wasn't.
way-
It was pushed. Like,
Yeah. It was like we're not going to select you, so
Yeah.
he's come out the
Well,
next.
that was
Yeah, right.
stupid
Okay.
because now we need him and he's not there.
You could have done with him for all three. I don't know if he's been
Absolutely.
available, but
He's been great for Queensland in the
He's
past. I want to know what Fafita's done though, because it seems, Lutzy, that something has happened, and for whatever reason, whether Billy Slater is just like, you know what, if he sits out a full year, which he's going to now, he's going to I thought he was a walk-up start before the Origin series. He was just like, well, Fafita will definitely be one of our second rows. He's been playing good footy.
I haven't watched enough. I'm on the go on that sort of talk from the likes of you who've seen a bit more. I don't reckon I've watched enough Titans game this year, except for when they play the Broncos. But he always plays outstanding against the Broncos. His old team.
But even if he's not playing that well, he's a big boy. He's got footwork. He's X factor.
So are you implying, Ash, that it's off-field stuff? That's why he's left out? Like,
I don't know. I
Yeah.
can only speculate, but there's got to be something going on. And whether it was the contract negotiations that, Fafita had with the, he was talking to Penrith, then it was announced he was going to sign with the Roosters, and then he turned back and announced backflip that he was going to stay with the Titans.
Surely
Why Billy
not.
would have a problem with that,
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
shouldn't
Well, no,
matter.
I don't think so, because Ben Hunt in Origin camp last year was doing contract.
Yeah, and
juggling.
Daly Cherry Evans is the captain.
Exactly,
I mean,
the
it's a
famous
long
one.
time since he did that to the Titans. But
Yeah.
still.
I'm just saying that there's
Yeah.
got to be a reason other than Billy saying it's the little things in his game and things that he's noticed and all the rest of it.
The
But-
only thing I can think of is, like,
What?
defensively,
Yeah.
he might switch off. And I obviously love Kate well. For me, as an outsider looking into that, I see Billy going, we want to close the front door, essentially, and have a defensive starting pack. And that's where I see Capewell coming in. Maybe that's why Fafita hasn't been. Because then I think rather than Capewell, it's like, is it Fafita or is it Felice Kafusi? And they'll bash through the middle, so Felice is that sort of enforcer.
yeah.
That's the only thing. I mean, as I said, I'm a New South Wales fan. I was very happy when the Courier Mail were reporting that he wasn't in. So that says something.
What about you? Like you said on the show today that you'd had your phone switched off. You've been trying a bit of a detox there. So when you got the late mail about Latrell, how did that hit you? Considering the impact he had, like without I'm in a group message with a lot of mates that are Blue supporters, and when it was announced that he's not going to be there, one guy goes, "Well, get your 4X out." Like he's sort of calling time. Yeah, I don't think Latrell. He didn't win them the game in game 2, but he certainly made an impact.
He's a presence, isn't
he? Yeah,
he?
you lose.
Yeah, definitely.
You lose a lot of him not being there. Which
Well, I went from feeling confident that the Blues could get the job done in Queensland to optimistic, might be the right word. Like I was fairly confident if we had run out 1 through 17, the exact same lineup, that we could do the job. I mean, seeing Kalen Ponga on the team sheet as well scares me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very good
that could
player.
be scary. But again, I mean, who knows? Like,
He
who
might
could
play-
have predicted game 2? I mean, you just don't know.
Didn't he play a couple of years ago? Was it Billy that played KP?
He debuted on
in
the
the
bench.
middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, and he carved up.
He can't. Yeah, he did. He played really well. He's a bigger body.
Yeah. He gets through workers. Like he's done the stint in the half, so he's like, you'd almost say he's conditioned a little bit more to play in the middle of the park. He's a good player. He had a few errors in him last night though, so needs to get rid of them.
Yeah. And New South Wales has got what? So what have they done? They've brought in Bradman Best for Latrell.
I was Team Turbo until I watched the Eagles play on the weekend against the Cowboys. He didn't look good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, winced every time he took the ball up.
Whereas how many games has Bradman played? Only
One.
One
Just
was it? Yeah.
Just the decider, the third game last year, wasn't it? And he got 2 tries.
Yeah.
He played really well in that game.
Dead rubber though, wasn't it? Like
Yeah, it
Queensland
was.
didn't
It was
come out.
dead rubber, but still, I mean, you can't do much.
I
more
would
than
have had
what
like
did.
I think again. I think I keep going back to this. Api Coruscant I would have chosen as our hooker, but apart from that, it's probably the team of fit players that I would have chosen for New South Wales.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Yeah, well, it's going to be amazing. It's such a weird. So I mean, it's a weird series. The fact that we 2 absolute blowouts, and like the loss in game 2 I don't know. I mean, I'm only speaking as a Maroons fan. But the fact that we were down 34-0 at half time, like we lost by less than you guys lost by in game 1. But that felt like a much bigger.
You had an extra man though on that first.
Yeah,
one.
but that's what I'm saying. Like it felt like a much bigger defeat in game 2. Like
well, I
we
think
were
it was.
just absolutely smashed all over the park from.
We weren't in it, eh?
No.
It was just like one of those ones you could have switched it off at half time.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a terrible game. Have you got a role to play next Wednesday?
No.
Do you get the call up, mate?
I
listen.
did.
We've seen you at club level.
Yep.
We like what you do, mate. Do you want to take a step up?
They did. The NRL asked me during Magic Round. They said, "Do you want to work Origin?" I'm like,
You
yes,
doing it?
Please. I can't.
Why?
I'd already said yes to working with another team that have had me for a couple of years.
What? Who?
The great guys at Dynamic, they had me on. It was the most. I was saying to Lutz the other day, the most perfect event for Game 2. We were out there in the middle of Suncorp Stadium on the field. They had like that flooring they put out for the concerts, and we had a walk. We started off drinking in the dressing sheds. 4X going off, some food.
For game 2?
For game 2. So we're watching the game from Melbourne at Suncorp
Who's we?
Stadium.
That sounds
So
like
it
an
was
unreal
I
event.
think it was a Ladbrokes event, but the team at Dynamic helped put it on.
Sports marketing.
Yeah, and
they're
put on
very
some
good.
great events, but this one was just next level. And so you start off in like where they're training, where they're doing the laps and the drills and stuff that you see on TV. Then you get to go in the inner sanctum, like in the actual dressing sheds, the lockers. You get photos of all these jerseys hanging up. They had the Pearl there, they had the Old Man, and they had Billy Moore. And then once it got to like, I don't know, 7:30, Billy Moore goes, they played like a hooter, and Billy's like, let's go. And he leads everyone out the tunnel chanting Queenslander. Oh, you've got 100 people there, and you walk out there to this, out in the middle of the field. They got this tiny little area set up, sort of cocktail setups and lounges, surrounded by big screen TVs, but then they had the big screens at Suncorp Stadium on either end, switched onto the Channel 9 feed with the sound coming through these huge speakers. And we got to sit there and watch the game, and it was the most perfect event. Only to watch 34-0 by half time, and it was like, this is everyone. Like, there were 100 people there. 2 of them were Blues fans.
Not a lot of
Everyone just
vibes
wanted to go
by the
home.
end,
It was
yeah.
awful. But outside of that, so
what are you doing for game 3 though? Because
They're going to the MCG.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Now they got they take over Darling & Co. There's like 4 different rooms, and so there are 4 different setups there. And another one, they've got one of the sort of corporate suites on like the eastern stand at Suncorp. And so I go and MC a couple of things there and do some Q&As
in the
and
ground?
stuff. In the ground, and I end up getting to watch
Get me
it
in a
the
Darling
ground.
& Co,
Yes.
Mitch.
I'll
meet you there.
It is a great setup. But yeah, the NRL did ask me, and I would have jumped at it. I'm like, God damn, the other blokes
What did they
asked
want
me
you to
back
do?
in. I would have been the same as I do for the Broncos, same as I did
On
for
field.
Magic on field stuff.
Ground
So
announcing.
yeah,
Got any Queensland supporters here?
I would have been that guy.
I
That,
can't hear you.
Queensland, make some noise for your team. Steve Allen classic.
So that's what he does.
He'll be working it.
Soulless.
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, watching from a distance, but yeah, God, I was not nervous at the end of game one. We were all sitting there watching it there, and it got to like 5 minutes to go before I realised that it was only 5 minutes left. I'm like, I should feel nervous now. I hate not feeling nervous in an Origin game because I don't like a blowout. I love winning. I'd love smashing you blokes, but at the same time, I love a close game. A defensive game.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I hate that sick feeling.
Me
of
too.
Being in.
I'm with you, Ash.
Yeah, and when we were ahead in that first game by so much, it was
Yeah.
just like I could just purely enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know? Like
Yeah.
just-
Oh, there is a
just
lot.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
a lot
just,
to enjoy.
it's just.
I didn't have a phone, so I was like, usually I'm like nervous energies, like
You
checking
just-
Twitter, texting people. I was
You
sitting
were
there.
fully in the moment.
I was literally like, oh, we can still lose it from here. Like, we've got 34 points. Queensland can come back.
Well, I didn't know about your phone thing. I nearly messaged you, or any Blues fans that I knew, when we got to when we'd scored 2 tries, or maybe our third try, and it was like 34-18 or something, and I almost wanted to text a Blues fan and go, are you getting nervous now? Like, you were smashing us all over the place. But the fact that we put on 3 quick tries
Yeah.
and we're doing what we do, I wonder how many Blues fans were a little... I don't know that there were many Queensland fans that thought we could have done it, but I reckon there would have been a few Blues fans that thought that they could have lost it at that point.
I was kind of looking at the clock, and I was doing the maths in my head. I'm like, oh, they're not going to score this amount of points. In
we didn't score
we
until,
weren't
the
even.
62nd minute
A point
or
a minute
something.
is kind of where I go, oh, that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah. And also, for the sake of the game almost, I would have... I want us to win. I do want us to win at any cost. But still, to walk away from that game and go, oh, we won that game 40-38. That's a disgusting score for an Origin game.
I'd take it.
You would have taken it.
Yeah, to win it, to come back and to have that record that we made the biggest comeback. But just in general, if it was a game one, it doesn't decide the series, give me a 16-12 or give me a 10-6 game or something. I love a defensive Origin, so I hate when the points are piled on like that. But at the same time, if we come out there and smash you blokes next week, I'm not going to be upset about it.
And Saturday night game for the Broncos this week.
Yeah, against the Dragons.
I
Broncos.
thought we looked good against Penrith, to be honest with you. I thought
We looked better,
there was- Because Penrith scored against the run of play at least 2 of their tries. Like the Toto try where they was it Lindsay Smith grubbered it. Like there was a couple of against the run of play tries that Penrith scored. I thought the Bronx were in it.
We're 11th on the ladder now.
5 straight losses. You think about
I think it's
Sorry.
That's a real sound effect.
Bro, Brisbane, we just can't last year we got both teams get into the grand final. It's like we could come out and we could win both the
This could be a
AFL and the
dynamo.
NRL.
No. We could
know.
still win the AFL this year.
Okay, but last year it was like we can't have nice things. When
Yes.
the Lions lost, it's like
Yeah.
we're going to get one, which is going to be
I know.
amazing. We could have had 2.
Kendall and I
though.
sat there together at the
We
MCG.
did.
Yeah.
The heartache of
Yeah.
a 2-point loss in the
Devoed.
MCG against
Devoed.
Collingwood
Robbed as
of all
well.
teams.
Devoed.
And we get a weekend like this where the Broncos lose their 5th straight, and the same weekend the Lions win their 5th straight.
Yeah, no, so true.
You just can't.
We actually haven't been together since the women's Origin wrapped up as
Oh,
well.
that was
So
amazing.
that
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
good
Thursday
point.
night after
point.
Origin
Townsville.
2 in Townsville, which was a sellout.
Yeah.
Just love seeing that game go from strength to strength, and then up in regional Queensland, packing out that stadium and
Yeah.
for that community. And
So good.
it is the kind of thing you throw the kids in the car and drive from Cairns to Townsville and get accommodation and make a real night of it. And yeah, school holidays was perfect timing for them. And
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
And
Brilliant, brilliant.
around the Broncos-Panthers game of the weekend was the official season launch for the Broncos NRLW side because they've got a trial match this week. If you're heading to the Broncos, we got tickets on the show this week.
About to say.
The Broncos Dragons. It's a 7:30 kickoff, but at 5:15, the NRLW side are playing a trial match, and then
Who against?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know. And then 2 weeks later, the Broncos are playing the Bulldogs Saturday afternoon, and the midday game is the opening round of the NRLW season. So
so they play in tandem, and their grand final last year is the same day, right?
Yeah,
Will that line up again
Yeah,
this year?
because there's more teams in this year, and so they've extended out the season a little bit. So, it'll still roll the same way.
I really like that, whereas AFLW start their women's season after the AFL wraps up, so they kind of play into summer and end up playing a grand final in the first week of December.
Yeah.
But I really love, I mean, I guess it extends the footy season, but I like how the NRL do it.
I do as well.
I think they do it the best.
I find myself
really
watching more NRLW because it's on around the same sort of time as me.
And I
watching
think the women's grand final last year, it's like you got so many eyeballs because you knew that the men's was being played. It was the same day, right?
Yeah, it's the curtain raiser in a sense. It's the game before,
They ran the boys out this weekend, didn't they? The
they had the tunnel.
NRLW team. Yeah, I saw that.
I think also the fact that they play the women's origin in and around the men's origin, it's like then it becomes origin season.
Yeah.
If you like, it's a time to really embrace Queensland, embrace the whole origin concept.
Yep.
And it's only going to get stronger and stronger. I heard a podcast with the great Greg Inglis, who, God, he seems like a great guy, like just a really humble. I mean, for someone who's a true giant of the game, and he's really devoting his time now to the women's game.
Yeah,
and to
to like growing
to
the NRLW,
helping expand the women's game, and people like him jumping on board and seeing the value in it. Look, because essentially for the 100 years or whatever we've been playing rugby league, we've cut off half the population, and now they've got a true opportunity to play this sport.
It's so good for young girls coming through to see that and be like, well, I want to play. And you got clubs like the Titans that are doing so much work around encouraging girls to play and getting them through into the club. And
You know, when I went, just to mention the Titans there, was at the Titans recently for one of Archie's things, and they had all the representatives from the club sort of get up and speak. Like they're very passionate and genuine about the women. Like it's a true part of the club.
Very much so. They've got an awesome kind of community system
Yeah, they
set
do,
up.
actually.
They're really diverse and they're really leaning into kind of all the different cultures that make up the team. And it's a big part of their focus moving forward, which is smart.
and the kids growing up too. Like I know my boys have got the advantage that my sister plays footy and has been on the cusp of NRLW anyway. But it's just what it is now. It's not like it's been brought in as we've grown up. So my kids, like they're really into footy cards, which I love seeing now. It's like I don't know if it's all across all kids now, or just mine, but like footy cards are coming back in.
They're coming back.
And my kids are getting just as excited by seeing like Destiny Brill or something like that from the Broncos. Oh, I got a Broncos star. Like in the NRLW cards are thrown in there when you're getting a Fafita or a Kalen Ponga or something like that. So it's just as big. It's just another game for them to get behind. Like my boys are still wearing all the maroon on for the women's decider, and we stayed up watching that. So they love. It's just another game. Like it's not like here's the also rans or anything. Like it's good that it's just something else to embrace. It's really, really cool.
After being smashed in game 2 in the men's, I was so relieved that the next night we could watch the women's.
Yeah, I know,
there was
right?
like
You
another
needed
chance.
it.
It just